Greetings. Before we proceed, it's a fun idea if you comment with your current location. Thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's make ourselves comfortable and begin. 15 years. That's how long we've been married. I used to think we were solid, that we had something real. We live in this quiet, suburban neighborhood where every house looks the same, but it's comfortable. I've got a good job, making enough to keep us both happy. At least I thought it was enough. We've settled into this routine: work, dinner, some TV, bed. It's not exciting, but it's stable. And stability is what I always valued. I'm not blind. I've noticed the changes. The way she seems distant, how she always has her phone with her, guarding it like it's a treasure. But I've been busy, wrapped up in my own world. I convinced myself that it was just the stress of work, or maybe just a phase. We've been through tough times before, and we've always come out stronger. But deep down, something felt off. Maybe I didn't want to see it. Maybe I was afraid of what I'd find. She's still beautiful, my wife. The kind of beauty that turns heads even now. And there's something about the way she moves, the way she smiles when she thinks I'm not looking, that stirs something in me. But lately, that smile has been more for her phone than for me. I brush it off, tell myself I'm imagining things, but the doubt lingers, like a shadow that won't go away. Then it happens. A simple thing, really. She forgets her phone at home. I'm just about to head out for work when I see it lying on the kitchen counter. It's unlocked and curiosity gets the better of me. I pick it up, my heart pounding in my chest. I'm not sure what I'm looking for, or if I even want to find anything, but I can't stop myself. Her messages are open, and at first it's just mundane stuff. Then I see his name, some student at the school where she works. My hands start to shake as I scroll through their conversation. The words blur together, but the meaning is clear. They're not just messages, they're confessions. Late-night rendezvous, expensive gifts, and plans for the future. All with him, paid for with my money. My wife, the woman I've loved for 15 years, has been using me to fund her affair with this kid. I feel like I've been punched in the gut. The room spins and I have to sit down. How could she do this? How long has this been going on? I want to scream, to smash the phone, but I don't. Instead, I sit there staring at the screen, trying to make sense of what I've just discovered. Everything I thought I knew about my life, my marriage, crumbles in an instant. The routine that I once found comforting now feels like a lie. And as I sit there in our kitchen, holding her phone, I realize that nothing will ever be the same again. The air feels heavy as I sit on the couch, her phone still in my hand, the damning messages displayed like a car crash I can't look away from. My mind races, caught between disbelief and rage. 15 years and she throws it all away for some boy barely out of school? It feels surreal, like I'm outside my own body, watching this unfold from a distance. I hear the front door open and close. She's home. My stomach tightens. I'm not ready for this confrontation, but there's no avoiding it now. She walks into the living room, her smile fading as she sees me holding her phone. "What's going on?" she asks, trying to sound casual, but I see the flicker of fear in her eyes. I don't answer right away. I toss the phone onto the coffee table, the screen still showing the text between her and her lover. She glances at it, her face going pale. "Care to explain?" My voice is calm, but inside I'm a storm. She hesitates, then forces a laugh. "It's not what you think." "Really?" I snap, my anger boiling over. "Because it looks like you've been screwing some kid and using my money to bankroll it." She flinches, her composure cracking. "It's not like that," she says, her voice trembling. It's complicated." "Complicated?" I stand up, towering over her. "You've been lying to me, cheating on me, and spending our money on him. How is that complicated?" She takes a step back, her hands trembling. "I didn't mean for this to happen. I felt lonely and he was there. It was just supposed to be a fling, nothing serious." "Nothing serious?" I echo, incredulous. "You've been sneaking around, buying him gifts, paying his bills. That's more than just a fling. Tears well up in her eyes, but I'm too angry to care. I never meant to hurt you, she whispers. I just, I didn't know how to stop. I shake my head, disgusted. You didn't know how to stop? Or you didn't want to? She looks away, unable to answer. The silence stretches between us, thick and suffocating. I feel the urge to lash out, to make her feel the pain she's inflicted on me, but I hold back. I need to think, to plan. This isn't over, not by a long shot. You're going to regret this, I say, my voice cold. I'm not just going to walk away and let you get away with this. What are you going to do? She asks, fear creeping into her voice. You'll find out soon enough. I turn and walk out of the room, leaving her standing there shaken and unsure. I need space. Time to figure out my next move. I grab my keys and head out the door, slamming it behind me. I don't know where I'm going, but I can't stay here. Not with her. Not after what I've just uncovered. I drive aimlessly for what feels like hours, my mind replaying the confrontation over and over. I think about what she said, about feeling lonely. How could I have missed the signs? Or maybe I didn't want to see them. The truth is, I've been focused on my career, providing for us. I thought that was enough, but clearly it wasn't. I pull over into a deserted parking lot, my hands gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turn white. I want to scream, to punch something, but all I feel is emptiness. How do I fix this? Or is it even worth fixing? A thought crosses my mind, something dark and twisted. I could just walk away, leave her to deal with the mess she's made. But that's not me. I can't let her off that easily. She needs to pay for what she's done, for the betrayal, the lies, the deceit. I need to know everything, to see just how deep this rabbit hole goes. I make a call, my hand shaking slightly as I dial the number. The private investigator answers on the second ring. I need your help, I say, my voice steady. It's about my wife. I think she's been cheating on me. He asks a few questions and I give him the details. He tells me he'll start digging, and I hang up, feeling a grim sense of satisfaction. If she thinks she can lie to me, deceive me, and walk away unscathed, she's sorely mistaken. The next few days are a blur. I go through the motions at work, but my mind is elsewhere. I can't stop thinking about the messages, the betrayal. Every time I see her, it takes everything in me not to lash out. She tries to talk to me, to explain, but I shut her down. I'm not interested in her excuses. I want the truth, and I want her to pay for what she's done. Then the investigator calls. I've got something, he says. You're not going to like it. What is it? I ask, my heart pounding. She's been more involved with this kid than you thought. It's not just an affair. She's been supporting him financially, and it looks like she's been embezzling money from your joint accounts to do it. My blood runs cold. How much? A lot. I'm still digging, but we're talking tens of thousands, maybe more. I feel like I'm going to be sick. Anything else? She's been careful, but there are other things, meetings, phone calls, emails. I'll send you everything I've found. I thank him and hang up, my mind reeling. This isn't just a betrayal, it's a full-blown conspiracy, and I've been completely blindsided. I spend the next few hours going over the information he sends me, piecing together the puzzle. The more I learn, the angrier I get. She's not just cheating on me, she's stealing from me, using me to fund her double life. And she's been doing it for years. I confront her again that night, armed with the evidence. She tries to deny it at first, but when I show her the bank statements, the emails, the photos, she crumbles. I'm sorry, she sobs, falling to her knees. I didn't know what else to do. I don't feel any pity for her. You could have come to me. You could have talked to me, but instead you chose to lie, to steal. She looks up at me, her face streaked with tears. I was scared. I didn't want to lose everything. Well, you have, I say coldly. And now you're going to pay for it. I walk away, leaving her to cry on the floor. I don't care anymore. I've made up my mind. I'm going to divorce her, and I'm going to make sure she pays back every cent she stole. She thinks she can outsmart me, but she's wrong. I'm not going to let her get away with this. Over the next few days, I start to put my plan into motion. I meet with a lawyer, start gathering more evidence, and make sure all our financial accounts are locked down. She knows what's coming, but she doesn't try to stop me. Maybe she's given up, or maybe she thinks she can still talk her way out of it. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm in control now, and I'm going to make sure she pays for every single lie, every single betrayal. As I lie in bed that night, staring up at the ceiling, I realize that I'm not just angry. I'm also relieved. This nightmare has finally ripped away the facade of our marriage, and I can see things clearly now. There's no going back, but that's okay. I'm ready for what comes next, and whatever it takes, I'm going to make sure she regrets every single moment she spent lying to me. My mind is set. Revenge is the only path forward, and I know I need to play it smart. This isn't just about ending the marriage. It's about making sure she pays for every betrayal, every dollar stolen, and every lie told. I've never been one to back down, and I'm not about to start now. I spend hours poring over the evidence the investigator sent me. Every transaction, every message, every piece of information becomes a weapon in my arsenal. I'm methodical, taking notes, organizing files. There's a sick satisfaction in it, knowing that with every piece of evidence, I'm building a case that will destroy her. But she's not going down without a fight. I see it in the way she starts to maneuver, trying to regain control of the situation. She's charming when she needs to be, manipulative when she thinks it'll work. I've seen this side of her before, but never turned against me. Now it's like living with a stranger, someone who's become a master of deception. She starts reaching out to our mutual friends, painting herself as the victim in a story where I'm the villain. She tells them I've become distant, cold, that I'm the one pushing her away. It's a clever move, and I can see some of them starting to believe her. But I'm not worried. I know the truth, and soon enough, so will everyone else. At work, I'm distracted, my mind always on what's happening at home. I can't afford to lose focus, but it's hard not to when I'm constantly thinking about my next move. My lawyer is on board, ready to file the divorce papers and start the legal proceedings. He's good, and he's got a reputation for being ruthless in court. Exactly what I need. One night, I come home late, my head spinning with everything I've been working on. I find her sitting on the couch, a glass of wine in her hand. She looks up as I walk in, her eyes narrowing slightly. "We need to talk," she says, her voice calm, but I can sense the tension underneath. "About what?" I reply, keeping my tone neutral. "I've learned not to give her anything she can use against me. This," she gestures vaguely around the room. "Us, everything." I sit down across from her, my eyes locked on hers. "What is there to talk about? You've made your choices. Now you'll deal with the consequences." She flinches at my words but doesn't back down. "I know I messed up, but we don't have to destroy each other over this." I almost laugh. "You think we can just walk away from this and pretend everything's fine?" "I'm saying we can find a way to end this without ruining our lives." "Your life, you mean?" I lean forward, my voice dropping to a whisper. "You've already ruined mine." She doesn't have an answer for that, and the silence stretches between us, thick and heavy. After a moment, she gets up, finishing her wine in one gulp before setting the glass down hard on the table. "You think you're the only one who's been hurt? You think you're the only one who's suffered?" Her words are a spark, igniting the anger that's been simmering inside me for weeks. "Suffered? You brought this on yourself. You made the choices that led us here. Don't you dare try to play the victim now." "I wasn't happy," she finally snaps, her voice cracking. "I was lonely and you were never there. You were always too busy with work, with everything else, and I felt invisible." "And that's supposed to justify what you did?" I ask, my voice cold. "No," she says, her shoulders slumping. "But it's the truth." For a moment, I almost feel something. Sympathy, maybe, or understanding. But it's fleeting, crushed under the weight of everything she's done. "The truth is, you lied to me. You used me. You stole from me, and now you're going to pay for it. She looks at me, and for the first time, I see real fear in her eyes. What are you going to do? You'll find out soon enough. The days blur together as I put my plan into action. I work late into the night, poring over financial records, preparing for the divorce proceedings. Every detail matters. Every move is calculated. I've always been good at my job, and now I'm treating this like the biggest case of my life. She knows something's coming, but she doesn't know what. She tries to butter me up, making nice, cooking dinner, pretending like things could go back to normal. But I'm not buying it. I see through her, and it only makes me more determined. The situation takes a darker turn when I start getting calls from unknown numbers. At first I ignore them, but then I start getting texts, vague threats, warning me to back off. It doesn't take long to figure out they're coming from him, the boy she's been seeing. He's trying to scare me, but all it does is fuel my resolve. One night I come home to find her on the phone, her voice low and urgent. She doesn't see me standing in the doorway, listening to every word. I told you I'm handling it, she says, frustration lacing her tone. No, he doesn't suspect anything. Just stay out of it, okay? I'll take care of him. She hangs up before I can hear more, but it's enough. She's plotting something, and she's still in contact with him. I can feel the walls closing in, but I won't be trapped. I've come too far to back down now. I start digging deeper, using every resource at my disposal. The investigator uncovers more dirt, evidence of payments made to shady characters, connections that lead back to her lover. It's more than just an affair. It's a web of lies, money, and manipulation that goes far beyond what I first imagined. The tension builds as I realize I'm not just fighting her anymore. There are others involved, powerful people who won't hesitate to protect their interests. I feel the weight of it pressing down on me, but I refuse to give in. The more I uncover, the more dangerous it becomes. I get another call, this time from my lawyer, warning me that things might get ugly. There are whispers of corruption, of people in high places who could make my life a living hell if I push too hard. But I'm past the point of no return. I've already lost so much. My trust, my marriage, the life I thought I had. There's nothing left to lose, and that makes me dangerous. I confront her again, this time with everything I've found. She tries to deny it, but I see the panic in her eyes. She knows I've got her cornered. You think you can scare me into backing down? I ask, my voice low and deadly. You think I'm just going to let this go? She doesn't answer, but I can see her mind racing, trying to figure out her next move. But it's too late. I've already made mine. The walls are closing in on her, not me. And as she realizes that, I can see the fear turning into something else. Desperation. She's dangerous when she's desperate, but so am I. I leave the house that night, knowing that this is far from over. The stakes are higher than ever, and I'm playing against forces I never anticipated. But I'm not backing down. Not now. Not ever. I've come too far to lose, and whatever it takes, I'm going to make sure she, and everyone else involved, pays for what they've done. The battle lines are drawn, and there's no turning back. I'm in this fight to the end, and I'm going to make damn sure I come out on top. The threats come out of nowhere. One day I'm driving home from work, mind racing with my next steps, and then my phone buzzes. It's an unknown number. I answer, expecting another call from the investigator or my lawyer, but instead a voice, low and menacing, cuts through the line. Back off, or you'll regret it. I freeze, gripping the steering wheel. Who is this? You know who it is. Just remember, some things are better left buried. The line goes dead before I can say anything more. My heart races, the anger boiling over. It's him, the kid she's been screwing. He's trying to intimidate me, to scare me into submission, but all he's done is throw gasoline on the fire. I've come too far to be frightened off now. When I get home, I find her in the kitchen pretending like nothing's wrong, but I know better. I can see it in the way she avoids my gaze, the slight tremor in her hands as she pours herself a glass of wine. I don't say anything, not yet. I want to see how far she'll go, how much she'll lie to my face. The next few days are a blur of tension and silence. Every time I leave the house, I check my surroundings, looking for anyone suspicious. Paranoia creeps in, but I push it down, focus on the plan. I can't afford to lose my nerve now. I'm close, so close to bringing everything crashing down on her. Then another threat. This time, a letter slipped under my door. No name, no return address, just a single line in block letters. You've been warned. I crumple the paper in my hand, feeling the rage simmering just beneath the surface. They think they can scare me off? They think I'll back down? I decide to confront her, but I know it won't be easy. She's clever, always one step ahead, but I'm done playing her games. That night, I wait until she's settled in the living room, the TV on, her glass of wine in hand. I walk in, standing over her, and drop the letter on her lap. What the hell is this? I demand, my voice barely controlled. She looks at the paper, her face carefully blank. I don't know. Don't lie to me, I snap, my patience wearing thin. This came from your lover, didn't it? He thinks he can threaten me, scare me into backing off. She sets the wine down, her hand trembling just enough for me to notice. I don't know what you're talking about. Bullshit, I yell, losing the last of my restraint. You've been lying to me for years, stealing from me, and now you're trying to cover your tracks by threatening me? Her eyes finally meet mine, and for the first time, I see real fear there. I didn't want this to happen, she whispers. I never wanted it to go this far. Well, it has, I say, my voice cold. And now, you're going to deal with the consequences. She tries to talk, to explain, but I'm done listening. I turn and walk away, leaving her sitting there, the crumpled letter still in her hand. I need to clear my head, to think about what comes next. The threats, the lies, the deceit. It's all coming to a head, and I need to be ready. The next day, I get a call from my lawyer. We've got a problem, he says, his tone serious. What now, I ask, already bracing myself for more bad news. They've filed a counterclaim, he explains. She's accusing you of financial misconduct, claiming you've been hiding assets, mismanaging funds. She's trying to turn the tables on you. I feel the blood drain from my face. What? That's insane. She's playing dirty, he continues. This is going to get ugly fast. We need to be prepared for a fight. I hang up, my mind spinning. She's not just trying to protect herself. She's going on the offensive, trying to destroy me before I can destroy her. The walls are closing in, just like I feared. But I'm not giving up. Not now. I call the investigator, desperate for something, anything that can help me. I need more, I tell him, my voice urgent. Anything you've got, I need it now. He promises to dig deeper, to find whatever he can. I know it's a long shot, but it's all I've got left. As the days pass, I feel the pressure mounting, the tension unbearable. Every moment feels like a countdown to disaster. Then, the breaking point. I come home late one night, exhausted, and find the door unlocked. My heart skips a beat, adrenaline surging as I step inside. The house is dark, eerily quiet. I reach for the light switch, but before I can, I hear a voice. His voice. Looking for something? I spin around, my heart pounding in my chest. He's standing in the doorway, casually leaning against the frame, a smirk on his face. The kid, her lover, the one who's been trying to ruin my life. I feel a surge of fury, but I force myself to stay calm. What the hell are you doing in my house? I demand, my voice low and dangerous. He shrugs, stepping forward. Just thought we should have a little chat, man to man. There's nothing to talk about, I say, my hands clenched into fists. Get out. Not until you listen to me, he says, his tone mocking. You're making a big mistake. You think you can take us down, but you're out of your league. Walk away now and maybe we can forget this ever happened. Or what? I ask, stepping closer, my blood boiling. You think you can scare me? You think I'm just going to roll over and let you ruin my life? He chuckles, shaking his head. You don't get it, do you? This isn't just about you and her. There are bigger players involved. People who won't hesitate to bury you if you keep pushing. I feel the anger snap inside me, and before I know it, I'm grabbing him by the collar, shoving him against the wall. "Get the hell out of my house," I growl, my voice shaking with rage. "And if you ever come near me again, I'll make sure you regret it." He laughs even as I hold him pinned against the wall. "You're already too deep, old man. You can't win this." I release him, pushing him toward the door. "Get out," I say again, my voice deadly calm. He straightens his collar, smirking at me as he backs out of the door. "You're making a mistake," he warns, his voice still laced with arrogance. "This isn't over." He's right about one thing. It's not over. But it's not me who's making the mistake. I watch him walk away, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and fury. The situation has spiraled out of control, and I know I'm in over my head. But I've come too far to back down now. I feel a renewed sense of purpose, a steely resolve hardening inside me. I've been pushed to the brink, but I'm not broken. Not yet. I know what I have to do, and I'm ready to see this through, no matter what it costs me. I'm going to finish this, and when I do, they'll all pay. The time has come to put everything into action. The pieces are all in place, and now it's time to move. I've spent weeks, months preparing for this moment. Every document, every bank statement, every little detail has been meticulously gathered, organized, and weaponized. I'm ready. First, I make sure all the financial accounts are locked down. I've moved the assets I can into protected accounts, making sure there's nothing left for her to grab. I've been smart about it, covering my tracks so she can't accuse me of anything illegal. My lawyer assures me that everything is in order, but I still double-check, triple-check. I can't afford any mistakes. Next, I serve her the divorce papers. It's a cold, calculated move, delivered by a process server while she's at work. I can only imagine the look on her face when she receives them. The shock, the anger. But I'm not there to see it. I'm at the lawyer's office going over the final details, making sure there's no way for her to weasel out of this. I'm determined to make her pay back every cent she stole from me, and then some. The news hits her hard. I get a call from her later that night, her voice shaky and desperate. "You can't do this," she says, but there's no real conviction behind her words. She knows I can, and I will. "It's already done," I reply, my tone flat and emotionless. "You've had your fun. Now it's time to face the consequences." She tries to plead with me, to find some way to negotiate, but I'm not interested. "We're past that," I tell her, cutting her off. "This isn't about what you want anymore. It's about what you owe." I hang up, not giving her a chance to respond. There's no room for sympathy now. I've come too far to let her guilt or manipulate me into backing down. This is war, and I'm going to win. The legal process grinds on, slow and agonizing, but I stay focused. My lawyer is a pit bull, tearing apart every claim she tries to make, shredding her defenses piece by piece. I'm relentless, pushing every advantage I have, making sure there's no way for her to escape the financial ruin she's brought on herself. I watch as her life begins to unravel. The lavish lifestyle she's been living comes crashing down. The credit cards are maxed out, the bank accounts drained, the expensive gifts, the luxury vacations, all of it funded by my money, are now just memories. She tries to keep up appearances, but it's clear she's struggling. Her lover, that kid she thought would be her escape, abandons her when the money dries up. He was only ever in it for what he could get, and now that she has nothing left to give, he's gone. It's a small, bitter satisfaction to see her so desperate, so broken, but it's not enough. I thought it would be, but as I watch her life crumble, I realize that the victory feels hollow. I've won, yes, but at what cost? I've lost just as much as she has. Our marriage, our home, the life we built together, even if it was all based on lies. I'm left standing in the wreckage, looking around and wondering if it was worth it. The anger that fueled me for so long is starting to fade, replaced by something else, something emptier. I thought that seeing her suffer would bring me closure, that it would erase the pain she caused, but it doesn't. The pain is still there, raw and bleeding, and now there's no one left to blame. I start to rebuild piece by piece, trying to put my life back together. It's not easy. Every step forward feels like I'm dragging a weight behind me, the memories of everything that happened pulling me back. I try to focus on the future, on what comes next, but the past clings to me like a shadow. I spend more time at work, burying myself in projects, trying to keep my mind busy. It helps a little. The long hours and the late nights leave me too exhausted to think about what I've lost. But when I get home, to the empty house, the silence is deafening. I can't escape the memories here. The rooms still echo with the life we used to have. The laughter, the arguments, the lies. I've purged the house of anything that reminds me of her, but it doesn't matter. The ghosts are still here. I tried dating, thinking maybe I can move on, find someone new, but it's too soon. Every woman I meet is just a reminder of what I had and lost. I go through the motions, smiling, flirting, but my heart's not in it. I'm too damaged, too raw. I realize that before I can let anyone else in, I need to heal, and that's something that time alone will have to take care of. The legal battle continues, dragging on longer than I expected. She fights back harder than I anticipated, using every trick she can to delay the inevitable. But it's a losing battle for her. My lawyer is too good, too ruthless. Eventually, she runs out of options, and the judge rules in my favor. She's ordered to pay back everything she stole, every penny accounted for. The victory should feel sweet, but it doesn't. It feels like ashes in my mouth. I've won, but I've lost so much more. The battle has taken everything out of me, left me hollowed out and empty. I'm left wondering if it was all worth it. I wanted revenge, and I got it, but it's cost me more than I ever imagined. As the dust settles, I try to move forward, but it's not easy. The scars run deep, and I'm not the same person I was before. I'm colder, harder, more cynical. The things that used to bring me joy now feel meaningless. I go through the motions, but there's no passion, no fire left in me. I'm just existing, drifting from one day to the next, waiting for something to change. But I know that if I'm ever going to find peace, I need to let go of the past. I need to stop clinging to the anger, the pain, the betrayal. It's easier said than done, but I'm trying. I'm starting to see a therapist, someone who can help me work through everything I've been through. It's a slow process, but I know it's necessary. If I don't deal with this now, it'll eat me alive. I've begun to realize that the battle I fought wasn't just against her, but against myself. Against the part of me that couldn't let go, that couldn't forgive. I need to forgive, not her, but myself. For letting it get this far, for losing myself in the pursuit of revenge. As I start to rebuild my life, brick by brick, I know it's going to be a long road. But I'm determined to walk it, no matter how hard it gets. I'm ready to find out who I am without her, without the anger, without the pain. It's time to move forward, to leave the past behind, and to finally start living again. The day of the trial arrives, and I can feel the tension in every fiber of my being. The courtroom is packed, the air thick with anticipation. This isn't just another divorce case, it's a spectacle, and everyone knows it. The media has latched onto the story, spinning it into a sordid tale of betrayal, greed, and revenge. I'm aware of the eyes on me, the whispers, the judgment, but I don't care. This is the moment I've been waiting for, the reckoning I've fought so hard to achieve. I take my seat, my lawyer beside me, his face a mask of cold professionalism. Across the aisle, she sits with her own legal team, looking every bit the part of the wronged woman. She's dressed carefully, almost demurely, as if trying to portray herself as the innocent victim. But I know better. I see through the facade, the mask she's wearing for the benefit of the court and the cameras. The judge enters, and the room falls silent. The trial begins, and the prosecution lays out the case with meticulous precision. Every detail, every piece of evidence I've gathered over these long months is presented. The lavish gifts, the secret accounts, the lies, all of it is laid bare for the world to see. My wife's lawyer tries to counter, painting me as a controlling husband, but the evidence is overwhelming. I watch her as the case unfolds, hoping for some sign of regret, some flicker of remorse. But she's good, too good. She maintains her composure, playing her part with practiced ease. She's always been a performer, and now, in the most important role of her life, she's giving the performance of a lifetime. But even she can't hide the cracks beneath the surface. I see the way her hands tremble when she thinks no one is looking, the way her eyes dart nervously as the prosecution brings out one damning piece of evidence after another. The moment I've been waiting for finally arrives. My lawyer calls me to the stand. I feel every eye in the room on me as I walk to the front of the courtroom, but I keep my focus on the judge. I take the oath, sit down, and begin to tell my story. It's not easy, reliving everything I've been through, but I force myself to stay calm, to stay in control. I recount the discovery of her betrayal, the way she used my money to fund her affair, the lies, the deceit. I talk about the threats, the fear, the isolation. I lay it all out, every painful detail, until there's nothing left to say. When I'm done, the courtroom is silent. I can feel the weight of my words hanging in the air, the tension palpable. My wife's lawyer cross-examines me, trying to poke holes in my story, but I hold firm. I've prepared for this moment, and I'm not about to let them tear me apart now. The questions are relentless, but I answer each one with calm, measured responses. They can't shake me, and I know it. Then it's her turn. She takes the stand, and I can see the fear in her eyes as she looks out over the courtroom. This is her moment to defend herself, to convince the judge that she's the victim, not the perpetrator. But as she starts to speak, the cracks in her facade begin to show. Her voice wavers, and she struggles to maintain her composure. The more she talks, the more transparent her lies become. She tries to justify her actions, to explain away the evidence, but it's clear to everyone in the room that she's grasping at straws. The prosecution tears her apart on cross-examination. Every lie, every inconsistency is brought to light, and she crumbles under the pressure. By the time she steps down, it's clear that the judge has seen through her act. The case is nearly over, but the real battle is just beginning. The closing arguments are intense. My lawyer drives home every point with surgical precision, reminding the judge of the overwhelming evidence, the lies, the betrayal. Her lawyer tries to salvage what little they can, but it's a losing battle. The truth is out, and there's no going back. Finally, the judge speaks. The room is deathly quiet as we wait for the verdict. My heart pounds in my chest, my palms sweating as I grip the edge of the table. This is it, the moment that will decide everything. The judge's words are deliberate, measured, as he lays out his decision. He acknowledges the pain and suffering I've endured, the deceit, the betrayal. He condemns her actions, the way she used and manipulated me, the way she tried to turn the legal system against me. Then he delivers the final blow. She is to pay back every penny she took, plus damages. The financial ruin she faces is complete, and there's no escaping it. A wave of relief washes over me, but it's tinged with something else, something darker. I've won, but it doesn't feel like a victory. I glance over at her, and for the first time, I see the full extent of her devastation. She's lost everything, and it's clear she knows it. The expression on her face is one of utter defeat, and I realize that I'm not the only one who's been destroyed by this ordeal. As the courtroom clears out, I sit there, alone with my thoughts. The weight of everything that's happened presses down on me, and I feel a deep, aching emptiness. The battle is over, but I'm not sure what I've really won. The anger that drove me is gone, leaving only a hollow space where it used to be. I leave the courthouse, stepping out into the harsh daylight. The reporters swarm around me, shouting questions, but I push past them, not in the mood to talk. I just want to get away, to find some quiet place where I can think. Later at home, I sit in the darkness, replaying the events of the day in my mind. I should feel triumphant, but all I feel is tired. The legal battles, the endless fighting, it's taken its toll on me. worn me down in ways I didn't expect. I've achieved what I set out to do, but I'm not sure it was worth the cost. The consequences of this victory are just beginning to sink in. I've spent so much time focused on revenge, on making her pay, that I haven't thought about what comes next. The future stretches out before me, uncertain and daunting. I'm free from her, from the lies, but I'm also alone, left to pick up the pieces of a life that's been shattered. As I sit there in the silence of my empty house, I begin to understand that this victory comes with a price that I'll be paying for a long time to come. The battle is over, but the wounds it's left behind will take much longer to heal. And as I stare into the darkness, I realize that the hardest part of this journey is just beginning. The courtroom doors close behind me, and I'm finally outside. The sun is too bright, the air too fresh. I stand there for a moment, letting it all sink in. The trial is over, and I've won. She's been ordered to pay back everything she took, but the victory feels like a hollow echo in my chest. I've spent so long fighting, driven by anger and betrayal, that I'm not sure who I am without them. I start walking, unsure of where I'm going. The courthouse is behind me, and so is everything that's happened. But I can still feel the weight of it pressing down on me, the choices I've made, and the person I've become because of them. I used to think that winning would bring me peace, that I'd feel some sense of closure. But now all I feel is empty. As I walk, I think about the man I was before all of this started. I was a husband, a provider, someone who believed in the life I was building. But that man is gone, buried under the wreckage of deceit and revenge. I've spent so much time trying to destroy her that I didn't realize I was destroying myself too. I reach a park and sit down on a bench, watching the world go by. People are laughing, talking, living their lives as if nothing has changed. And for them, nothing has. But for me, everything is different. The thing is, I'm free from her lies, from the constant fear and anger that's consumed me for so long, but now I'm left with a void that I don't know how to fill. I pull out my phone, scrolling through messages, looking for something, anything that might give me a sense of direction. But there's nothing. The calls from lawyers, the updates from the investigator, the endless stream of information that's kept me going, it's all done. My inbox is empty, and so is my life. I start to wonder what comes next. I could move, start fresh somewhere new, but I know that the past will follow me wherever I go. The memories, the scars, they're not something I can escape by changing locations. I'll have to face them, confront the man I've become, and figure out how to live with him. I think about reaching out to friends to see if they can help me pick up the pieces, but I know they won't understand. They've seen the headlines, heard the rumors, but they don't know the full story, and I'm not sure I want them to. This is something I need to deal with on my own. The afternoon fades into evening, and I'm still sitting on that bench lost in thought. The sky darkens, and the park starts to empty out, but I don't move. I'm not ready to go back to the empty house, to face the silence that waits for me there. But eventually, I know I have to. When I finally stand up, it's with a sense of resignation. I can't stay here forever, hiding from the future. I need to move forward, even if I don't know where I'm going. I start walking again, my steps heavy, but with a new resolve forming in my mind. I'm going to rebuild no matter how long it takes. The house is dark when I get home, and I stand in the doorway for a moment, letting the quiet wash over me. I thought I'd hate it, the emptiness, but now it feels like a blank slate, a chance to start over, to create something new. It's daunting, but also liberating. I make my way to the bedroom, where the divorce papers are still sitting on the nightstand, the judge's final ruling attached. I pick them up, reading over the words again, but they don't have the same power they did before. The legal battle is over, but the real fight is just beginning, the fight to reclaim my life, to find out who I am without her shadow hanging over me. I lie down on the bed staring up at the ceiling. The thoughts swirl in my head, but I push them aside, focusing on the present. For the first time in a long time, I allow myself to feel hope. It's a small spark, fragile and uncertain, but it's there. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm ready to face it. The next morning, I wake up early, the sunlight streaming through the curtains. It feels different, lighter somehow, like a weight has been lifted. I get out of bed and head to the kitchen, making a pot of coffee. The routine feels comforting, grounding me in the moment. I take a sip, savoring the warmth, and let myself enjoy the simple pleasure of it. As I sit at the table, I start to make plans. Small steps, but steps nonetheless. I'll reach out to the therapist again, make sure I'm taking care of my mental health. I'll start going out more, reconnecting with the world outside of my legal battles, and maybe eventually I'll think about dating again, about letting someone new into my life. But not yet. For now, I need to focus on myself, on healing. I finish my coffee and head outside, breathing in the crisp morning air. The neighborhood is quiet, peaceful, and I take a moment to appreciate it. I've been so caught up in the storm that I forgot what it feels like to just be still. But now I'm ready to embrace it. I start walking, not sure where I'm headed, but feeling more certain with each step. The past is behind me and the future is wide open. I don't know what it holds, but I'm ready to find out. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm finally in control of my own life. As I walk away from the house, I leave the pain, the anger, the betrayal behind. I'm done with revenge, done with holding on to the past. It's time to start living again, to find out who I am on my own terms. And whatever happens next, I know I'm strong enough to face it.